All right. Welcome to my MySpace. Oh my God. Might as well start.
Welcome to
Welcome to Y.
2004.
We're having a flashback day. Welcome to Y Space. Hello,
Hey
Becca.
guys,
Well, first, let me ask, how are you?
we're doing good over here. Prepping for the solar eclipse that
Yep.
apparently is taking over Texas. So,
Well, here in Little Rock, we are in the 100% visibility. So
same.
people are like all over the world are coming here. People need better hobbies.
On the news, they're like, fill your car up with gas, get your groceries. I'm like, what do you think is going to happen?
Are y'all out of school?
So we're not. The district next to us is.
We are. And I was like, when the last one happened, we lived in Wilmington, North Carolina. So we like literally went and laid on the beach to watch it. So
Yeah.
nice. Here, I'm like, what am I going to do? Stand out in my yard?
I know. The kids' schools are having like viewing parties. They've got the glasses and the little goodie bags.
Glasses, but I'm like, I don't know. It's just not my thing. I'm not I don't know what you would even consider that. Like, not astrology, but meteorology. I don't know.
Meteorology.
I'm not either one of those, actually.
I'll probably like turn around in my desk chair while I'm working and be like, man, it's dark out.
I did put a little thing on my calendar that I would be like out for like 2.5 minutes so it's gonna last. But yeah. That also brings me, man, this is normal here, but I was gonna say, do you like keep up with this whole like Mercury in retrograde thing?
I don't. That's one more thing to confuse me. So I just
I don't even understand what that means. And
I don't need something else telling me I'm gonna have anxiety.
Well, last night Aaron says to me, we're baseball practice, and he was like, "Hey, what does Mercury's in retrograde mean?" And I was like, I mean, I don't know. Like all these weird things happen. And so then literally all these moms in the baseball stands start talking about all these weird things they've heard happen on the news. Like some kid was at Disney World and a trap door opened in the bathroom and she fell down in it and they still haven't found her.
No.
I'm like, this didn't happen because I haven't seen this. And they're like, no, it did. It did. And I'm like,
I feel like you and I would have sent that story to each other.
I feel like I consume a lot of things and I did not consume that.
No.
Yeah, I'm just not into like, I don't even know like my astrology sign. Like I get confused because my birthday is the actual breaking day between two.
Okay.
And I know one of them is Pisces, which I think is what I actually am, and I don't even know what the other one is. I don't even know what that means. Like,
See, I just have never. I guess I've always thought that like whatever your sign is like how the stars were aligned or something when you were born. And I'm like, but how does that determine like my personality? Because how I was younger and how I am now are two different people.
Well,
and because of the stars.
Well, this ties back to our upbringing, though. We probably think it's about satanic witchcraft. So
we're definitely told you can't even talk about those things.
Nope. That's probably why we don't know what Mercury retrograde really means. So, so now I'm like having analysis paralysis of which direction to go with the conversation. So are we going to start sports or music? You pick.
I think we should start sports because we'll get through that much faster. There's a lot of music stuff going on.
Okay, that's a good point. So let's kick off with the news of today. It kind of started earlier this week, though, that Bronny James announced, which if you don't know who Bronny is, Laura, it's LeBron James' son, who currently-ish plays for USC basketball program.
Freshman, right?
He's a freshman. So one of my really good friends, Stephanie, is like Miss USC, right? Like she went to USC, everything about USC. She's very involved, knows everyone. We talk about Bronny a lot. She is not a LeBron fan. She like has done a lot of really cool things in her life work-wise, but she did some work that involved the LeBron James Foundation. So she just, from a personal perspective, is not a fan.
Makes sense.
I'm okay with LeBron. I'm a Michael Jordan is the GOAT, not LeBron person.
Same.
But I am a lifelong Lakers fan. So I have that. So all this stuff happens with Bronny. He comes out earlier this week and says he's going to enter the transfer portal, which, listen, don't get me started. You know how I feel about it. But
yes.
So he says that. Well, then they asked LeBron about it at a press conference or at his locker after the Lakers game. And he like kind of acts surprised, but I don't believe that. But he's like, oh yeah, I didn't really know about that. He's got a lot of decisions, whatever. BS. So then it comes out Well, also in the mix of this, yesterday, USC fired their men's head coach.
Yes.
So yesterday, of course, because we can't have anything nice in Arkansas, the Razorback basketball coach doesn't even really announce he's leaving. They just are like, hey, he's on the plane to LA.
Cool.
Oh, cool. All right. Bye. Fight on.
Jeez.
So Eric Musselman is the new head coach at USC. So then today it comes out that Bronny says, I'm declaring for the draft, but I'm maintaining my college eligibility and I'm entering the portal.
I didn't know you could do that.
I didn't either. I was like, we don't have to pick a street.
Right.
Like, this is so non-committal. Like, what is happening? So
It's just, well, he didn't have a lot of playtime because earlier in the season he had the heart attack, and then
which is
the surgery's understandable.
Yeah.
I think they said he averaged 19 minutes a game, 4-point-something points a game. Like, to me, it's crazy to enter the drafts now because you don't have enough college stats to back you up. You're literally going to get onto an NBA team because of who your dad is. And do you honestly want to continue to follow that shadow?
So I think this is scripted. So I think that he declared, because this is my opinion. I think that he and his family have made a deal with Pelinka that runs the Lakers. LeBron has always said he wants to play at least one season with Bronny, but he also this week and last week he's been talking about, like, I don't know how much more I have left in me.
Yeah.
I think he said, okay, I can do one more year. If you get Bronny, we play together for the year. And so that's what I think is happening. Listen, Bronny is a good athlete, but he has sucked at USC. Like,
yeah,
it's hard to say that because you're like, dude had a heart attack and was like dead for a minute. But he's just not like Bryce, the younger one, who's like, I think a senior now. Like, he's really good. Like, he's as good as LeBron probably, but Bronny, I'm like,
Well, and it kind of stinks because I don't know that he'll ever get a fair shot in the NBA. You're always going to be LeBron's kid. And especially if you play on the team, people are just going to compare the two of you. And you're not at your dad's level because you're still so young. There's so much more time and talent that his dad has been able to get.
Yeah.
I feel like you're doing a disservice to your kid. You're the one that stuck him in the spotlight. You're the one that has pushed all of this. Like, he never had a shot to just go to college and play.
Yeah, and I think, I don't know. I mean, my opinion too, though, is that, I mean, the transfer portal, listen, it is a cluster to me. I don't agree with how it's all being done. And the fact that he can, like, have all three things being a true story right now. He's maintaining his eligibility, entering the portal, and entering the draft. Like, I don't know how this works. So for some reason, I think, I could be wrong about this. Clearly, as a basketball player, I was never considering the professional level, so I'm not an expert on this. But I do think that there's something about, you can declare for the draft to, like, get kind of like feedback from the teams and see kind of where you would fall, and then make a decision if you're actually, like, going to make your name eligible to be drafted that day.
Okay.
Like, you can test the waters. I think that is true.
But he can't go play for the NBA for a year and then go back and play in college, right?
No.
Okay.
I don't think so. But there's that oh shoot, I can't think of who it is, but he actually played with LeBron in the NBA. I think he was even on one of the Olympic teams, and he went back to college, but he's playing golf. I can't think of who it is though.
Gotcha.
But I know that I know that y'all don't love the basketball the way that I do. No. So you've not kept up with the women's basketball tournament.
Okay, so I've watched some of it.
Okay, well, listen. It has been freaking amazing. It has been, like, I haven't even kept up with the men's tournament. I'm a UNC basketball fan, have been since I was a baby, and they crapped the bed. So I didn't really care what was happening. But the women, like, these girls, I played basketball, and I never played with anyone that had remotely close to the level of talent that these people do.
Yeah.
It is insane.
It's wild. I watched the LSU Iowa game, which I'm pretty sure
So,
everyone in the world watched.
4.5 million people. It was so
Yeah,
good.
so insanely good. Of course, everybody's watching because everybody knows the name Angel Reese. Everybody
Yeah.
knows Clark. But like to watch the rest of the girls on the team that are just as good,
Yeah.
like it was so fun to watch because it's just nonstop the whole time. It was
Yeah.
incredible.
It's funny. Obviously the drama between Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese started last year in the championship, which LSU
Right.
ended up winning. And, Angel did the whole like ring me thing. And she just kind of has a flamboyant personality. Um, I think for me personally, I think the distance and talent level between Caitlin and Angel though is significant.
Do
Like
you?
I do. And I may be like in the minority of that because I know a lot of people think that Angel is like, and she's a fantastic ball player. I mean, I couldn't coach her because her attitude makes me insane. But I think it's significant. I think Caitlin Clark is like a generational talent. Like I truly
100%.
do.
She's
I mean,
definitely a better scorer. I
yeah.
feel like Angel Reese is better at blocks and getting the ball away and those kind of things, but nobody tops Caitlin on scores.
Well, and Caitlin's passing game doesn't get the credit it deserves. There was a play in that LSU game. She was totally going to the right, like fully committed. I don't even know that she glanced. I don't even know if her eyes diverted at all. And all of a sudden, she just went and threw the ball to the left, completely across the court,
Yeah.
through tons of people, and they scored a layup. And I was like, "What just happened?"
Yeah. I can't run and dribble at the same time. I can't walk and dribble at the same time. So like when they can do these things, I'm enamored.
Well, and they're the two bigger names, but UConn has Paige. Oh God, here I am again trying to pronounce something. I don't know. Buckert? Buchert?
Let's go with that.
Paige B. Paige B. She's really good. But also the girl that plays for USC, Juju Watkins, she is
Juju is great.
I
Yeah.
like really, really, really like her.
Yeah.
But I bring the women's tournament up to say, and Lord, I can't think of her name either. HVL, Haley Van Leith or whatever that plays for LSU.
Yep.
She's declared for the portal. Again,
Yes.
she's got a 5th year of eligibility, so she's doing it again, will be immediately eligible.
Gotcha.
I'm like, can we limit how many times because this is like her 3rd move.
I mean, at some point you would think there's got to be a limit on it, but then I guess there's probably some law against not allowing people freedom to make a choice.
Must we concerned with everything?
Yeah. What's going on there?
Yeah, so a lot of basketball news. Let's switch gears and talk some football, our favorite topic.
Yes.
So last week we brought it up. Rashee Rice. Listen, this fool. So much talent.
Yeah.
Only 23 years old, too much money, with all the things we've talked about. Gets in this car accident that we talked about. Now it's confirmed he was driving the Lamborghini, though he owned the other cars, some of the other cars involved too. And he just like walks down like I've watched this video so many times of them walking away from the accident. They're not even running. They're just casually strolling down the interstate like, meh.
I guess in my head too, I'm like, this is a massive interstate in Dallas. Where are you walking to? QT?
Like, I don't even know how they're going to get over the barrier.
Like, where are you going?
The whole thing confused me.
No. And they weren't even hiding their faces.
No, just like, what's up? Here I am strolling down the interstate, cars whizzing around me.
The mindset of your first thought after not only do you wreck with another car, there's like 6 other cars involved. You wreck, you get out of the car and you're like, oh crap. And your first thought is, let me just skedaddle.
Yeah, and he's like, let me get the boys and we're just gonna go. Right. We're not even gonna check on anyone. Like, super disappointing. And like the way the whole information has like streamed out has been weird. His attorney's weird. There's no official charges yet. He's not been arrested. Like, whole thing is super weird. I'm just saying, if that was normal Joe Blow that caused that accident, they're like under the prison at this point. Like,
I was gonna say there would have already been charges the next day.
Yeah, so I've seen, I guess that Dallas has said they are gonna press charges, but, like, they still
Yeah.
haven't. So of course, the NFL hasn't levied anything yet, the Chiefs haven't yet. I saw
And there's
last night where,
definitely gonna
like,
be civil cases.
yeah, I saw last night where they're thinking it'll be like a 4-game suspension, which in the grand scheme of things isn't really that big of a deal, but
Right.
it's just disappointing, like, I don't know.
You just want them to make better decisions.
Yeah,
Not
and I
only
think
to a
too,
grown person now, but, like,
yeah.
you do have a spotlight on you. You do have a massive career that could potentially be affected by whatever you're doing in your private life.
And I think it just, like, seems even worse because it's like that's the one position that is, like, such a problem for the Chiefs, and you
Yeah.
have other guys on the team that are such team guys like Travis and Patrick, and then to have, like, the polar opposite, like, no concern for I'm just like, "What are we doing?"
I mean, on the one hand, we're obviously thankful no one was killed.
Yeah.
It doesn't sound like there was massive injuries. Potentially there were a few minor injuries.
Yep.
But also, like, I so hope that he learned a lesson from this. I hope that you understand who you should and shouldn't hang out with and what you should and shouldn't be doing.
Yeah.
And if you ever happen to get in another situation, face the consequences. Don't walk away from that. Like, what in
Take
the
a
world are
stroll
we?
on the interstate, like, I just man, and it's not like these guys haven't seen things recently, like the Henry Ruggs deal out in Vegas, like, I mean, he ain't ever getting out, and,
No.
like, as a receiver, you're playing the same position not that long ago, you didn't see that happen, and, like, these guys that have more money than sense, why are you driving yourself?
Yep.
Like, I will never understand when I see celebrities get busted for DUIs, DWIs, like, I will never understand why they are driving themselves.
Yeah.
Like,
Call an Uber, call a friend, call your
I'm a
agent. They'll
driver,
pick you
like,
up.
yeah, I just so crazy.
Yeah.
All right, you wanna tell us a little bit about the next case with Cam Sutton?
So Cam Sutton, not a name in the NFL that I knew,
Nope.
but I had seen it all over the news. He plays, what is it, cornerback for the Detroit Lions. Well, he played. They have since dropped him.
Yeah.
On, let's see, apparently on March 7th, he was involved in some kind of a domestic dispute and then left. They couldn't find him, charged him with domestic battery by strangulation. After 2 weeks of not being able to locate him, I guess the police department finally decided to put it on social media. And he was located at the training facility for the Detroit Lions, which to me,
Yeah.
I don't know, that would have been the first place I looked.
Yeah. Well, just an idea, but yeah.
When that was, I guess, when the coaches found out what was going on, they went and spoke to him and said, "Hey, you need to make this right. You need to go turn yourself in." And he said, "Yep, I'm going to do that."
Let me get right on that.
But then he doesn't. He
Yeah.
did get counsel a week later, maybe. Counsel calls the police department and says, "Yeah, he's going to turn himself in." But then he doesn't for like a week. So now he has turned himself in. He has been dropped by the Detroit Lions.
Yeah.
So we'll kind of see. You're going to get some time, my guy.
Yeah, like, again, just the audacity to be like, "Yeah, let me get to that in a minute. I'm
Right?
gonna go." Like,
Can you imagine the anxiety and stress you would have, even if somebody was like, "You have a parking ticket you didn't pay." I would be, let me drop everything I'm doing. I could be in the middle of labor. I'll pause. Let
yeah,
me get this taken care of.
yeah. Well, I mean, and we're not talking like a superstar. Like, Rashee Rice is, like, one of
Yeah.
the best receivers in the NFL. So that's like a superstar level. Like, Cam Sutton, my friend, nobody knows who you are unless they're a Lions fan. Like, who do you think you are that you are just like, and you clearly have issues if you've strangled someone. So, like, what is wrong with the people around you? Like, ugh.
I do wonder because obviously football is an aggressive sport. It is your
Mhm.
job. You literally go train every day to hit other men. I get that.
Yes.
I do, however, think that most teams have some kind of like a sports psychologist or a therapist or something that maybe helps you if you're a little bit maybe too aggressive off the field. I
Yeah.
That personality can't just come out only when you're at home. I have to imagine there were signs, but also how do these people not think like, let me just walk out of this situation so I don't lose the millions in contracts that I have, because this isn't worth it.
Just can't. Time will tell. I think decades from now, we'll probably look back on NFL, which by then will have become like flag football.
Yeah.
I'm sure the long-standing issues that are going to come from all these CTE cases is going to be pretty severe. I mean, we didn't even talk about it. Did you see this week, Vontae Davis, Vernon Davis's brother, just
He
like
passed away.
they found him dead? His ex-wife said this week that she thinks it's probably, they don't know yet what the cause was. They're doing all the tests, but she thinks it's related to CTE. So I don't know if that means she thinks he killed himself. I don't really know.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean, it does. And in the Kelsey documentary, Jason even said, that's something that we have to be aware of. Every play, I'm getting hit in the head. Like,
yeah.
I can't imagine that's something in the back of your mind constantly. There, obviously, your punters, your kickers, your quarterbacks are not getting headshots as often, but a lot of these guys are. And I mean, technology has come so far and we're still having issues, but it's one of those things that is what it is. Like,
yeah. The linemen, I've never really thought about it. I always thought more about like receivers and tight ends and running backs, especially because they're obviously like being targeted on every play. But if you think about it with linemen, they are constantly just every play like butting heads. And I just never thought about them really with the CTE stuff. But
I mean, think about the Eagles every time they're doing a tush push.
Yeah.
You're banging heads hard.
How Jason never got hurt with that play, at least visibly hurt.
Yeah.
I just will never know. But yeah, it's crazy. On the other side of like, I guess good news, unless you're a Bills fan, or if you have to go against the Texans, Stephon Diggs was traded to the. Now, listen, this has been like the past 24 hours, the news on this trade. So he got traded from the Bills to the Texans. It comes out yesterday that he was told you can seek a trade from anyone except the Chiefs, which is and then a lot of people are saying he wanted a trade simply based on the fact that he didn't think they would ever beat the Chiefs.
We all knew last year he wanted a trade. Before last year, we knew he wanted a trade.
He and Josh Allen must have just been like oil and water. But so now it turns out too that like the Texans really got like, I mean, they put a lot on the line for one season. He's eligible to be a free agent again at the end of next season.
Yep.
They like bought out 3 years of a contract. Like, I mean, really went all in.
I mean, they spent a lot of money to do it, but I think it was also smart to do a 1 year because he's just one of those guys that's a little cocky. And here's the thing. He is older.
Yeah.
I mean, he's in his 30s, which isn't old, but to an NFL player, it is. And he has not proven himself in a playoff game. So you can do great and wonderful all season long. But if you can't come out, I mean, we saw Travis, who struggled in the regular season. And then once you get to playoff, he took it a whole other level.
Yeah.
We don't see that from Stephon Diggs. He still plays the same, if not a little less. So I just don't know that your selling point's as big as you think it is.
Yeah, no, I don't think so either. Again, though, the Dallas freaking Cowboys. Like, I totally thought if he left Buffalo, he would go to Dallas to play with his brother.
Yeah.
They didn't go after him either. And I'm like, what? I don't understand what they're doing. Are they
And this has to be where Jerry's just like, stop spending my money. Like,
I've got all these illegitimate children popping up. I'm going to need some extra funds. Like, yeah. I don't know. It's crazy. I think NFL wise, has there been anything else this week?
That's all I've seen so far.
I'm sure there's been stuff we've missed, but I have seen a lot of footage that Patrick's already doing a lot of intense workouts and route running with Hollywood. And then I saw that like Sky Moore, and which Lord, he needs to practice catching. A lot of people have been down in Tyler with Patrick this week working out. Haven't seen Kadarius Toney. I don't know if they've decided what to do with him, but if anybody needs to practice holding on to the ball.
He is just sitting at home waiting to see what happens with Rashee.
Yeah, he's like, I'm back in.
Coach.
Yeah, so we'll see. I don't know. Yeah. All right, before we switch to music, because we do have a ton of music stuff, let's talk about our favorite family in South Carolina.
Okay.
The Murdaugh. Murdaws or the Murdochs, if you listen to this.
However you want to say it, apparently.
Yeah. So this week,
Um,
Alec, if you watch the show, or Alex, whatever, got an additional 40 years for stealing millions of dollars from his clients.
yes.
This will run concurrently with the 27 years for other similar stuff that he's already got going on.
Yep.
Um,
2 life sentences.
so I mean, I I guess at some point, like, you have to see all of these things through the trial and go ahead and convict and give him a punishment, but it's kinda like, what do we do? What's the point?
Yeah. I also, well, here's because at first I thought that too. And then I was like, why? Because this judge gave him the max that he could.
Mhm.
Which again, he didn't do some of the things in the plea agreement that he had said he was going to do. But then I thought his 2 life sentences for killing his wife and son are up for appeal.
Right.
What if by chance he
Yeah.
gets let go because of some reason and they're like, okay, you don't have to serve it. At least we have these
Yeah.
40 years to kind of fall back on because the man did a ton of crimes. If we want to say, okay, maybe you didn't kill your wife and son, which I don't know that anybody would believe that,
Yeah.
you still did a whole bunch of harm to families, and there's probably things yet to be uncovered. So, like, you still just need to go serve your time and stay away.
Yeah, I hadn't thought of it in that way either, but that is a good point. I also was assuming, and I don't know how this works. I've never committed a crime of this nature, clearly. But I'm assuming that there's something with like their corporate insurance that like because my thought originally was if I'm the family that got this money stolen from me, it for me it does nothing for me if he gets more jail time. Because
Yeah.
I'm like, I still didn't get my money back. So I'm
Right.
wondering though, like if there's something with insurance that they're like, oh, if you have this conviction, we pay out this amount. Or I don't know. I just wonder if they somehow get money that way. Because they always say in these things like, oh, this many years and this amount of restitution. But I mean, a lot of times, like even Trump is stuff right now with all the money he owes for everything. They're like, well, he doesn't have it. So I don't
Yeah.
know what happens then. Like, what are you gonna do? Put me in jail? I'm already there. Like,
Yeah, I don't know. I guess if down the line he were to ever get like a book deal or something while he's in prison,
mhm.
I guess the money from that would then directly go to the families. I'm not sure because I always wonder that too when they're like, "Yeah, you owe $6 million."
Yeah.
My man's in prison. How's he making
Yeah.
6 million? Like,
Buster's got to have his bills paid, so it can't be coming from
right?
him.
And so I know when they sold the house, the land, and all of that, there was a report because Buster did get a portion of the estate.
Mm, yeah.
So I don't know how that worked out either. How did you get money if all the families and all the legal things haven't been paid off? How
Yeah.
are your lawyers getting paid? Here's the thing. I'm not representing this guy if he's not able to write me a check. Because you know
No.
all of their focus is on him. So they probably don't have other cases right now with paying clients.
Well, I guess I've just assumed that they're because they always say that whoever his attorneys are, they've been friends for decades. I'm assuming somehow they were involved in some of his crimes, and they're like, "Well, let's try to
I
get them
mean,
back."
it's a thought we all have.
Yeah. So, yeah, I don't know.
We're not saying they are. Don't sue us. We're just
Yeah.
saying we think it.
Yeah, exactly. Like, please leave me alone out of the legal system. All right, so now we can switch gears to music. We have a plethora of topics and one surprise topic that I didn't tell you about.
Oh, fun.
I know. I wanted to get your like instant reaction.
Okay.
So we've talked a little bit about J Lo on here. Bless her. She's announced this week that she's rebranding her tour to like her greatest hits tour, which my
Yep.
first thing was like, okay, is everyone going to copy the Eras tour idea? Yes. My second thought was greatest hits. What?
How many did you have?
Which ones? Did we have enough for a whole show? Like, I didn't know. And this is apparently in response to like the very poor ticket sales. I don't know. I kind of think J Lo might need to just like call it
Yeah.
quits on the tour. I don't know. What are you thinking?
So I agree. I just don't think if your record didn't sell well, maybe we don't do a tour for it. Like,
Yeah.
your documentary bombed. People are making fun of you left and right. Like, your music's not that great. I
Yeah.
think maybe take a step back, maybe take a year or two off from the spotlight right now and stop calling the paparazzi every time you walk outside.
That
And
grid is busy.
yes. And then maybe come out and say, hey, I want to do a greatest hits tour.
Or, like, do a
Oh,
residency in Vegas.
yeah.
Like, let's not try to take this to an arena or a
I
stadium.
just, I think they're trying to pivot too fast to
Mhm.
just listen. We've already planned this tour. We already have everything and the dates and all of that. So we're just going to stick with it. But I just don't know that that's the best move. But I guess she's trying to recoup the 20 million that she spent on the documentary or whatever it was. So
Yeah, so as much as I would love for J-Lo to say, like, "I quit," Lizzo said, "I quit" this week. But Lizzo, bless her.
which listen, when she did that, didn't I immediately text you and say this is for attention?
Oh, yeah.
That's
So
all it
here's
is.
the thing about Lizzo, like, I is she talented? Yes. Is she, like, top 5 talented? No, not in my opinion. But I think what ruins Lizzo for me is all the drama that has to go along with her. So she's got, like, these backup singers and dancers that are claiming, toxic environment, that she was fat shaming them and like all this
Yeah.
sexual stuff and all this. And then she gets drug again. I don't even know what was it this time that she was even saying she quit because of.
She was just saying negative energy, negative comments about her weight and about whatever
Yeah.
she's doing.
And I mean, is she a big woman? Yes. I think she's pretty though. Now,
But she's
I don't
always embraced being big. So to come out and be like,
well,
people
and
are
here's
always
the
going to
thing,
make comments, whether you're famous or not.
like, we had what was it, a couple 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, we had Taylor's pictures in the Bahamas in this itty bitty yellow bikini that wouldn't have covered my pinky, and
Yeah.
people were calling her fat, which was clearly inaccurate. So then you got Lizzo wearing just as little clothing, quite obviously larger than Taylor. Like, what do you think's gonna
Yeah.
happen? Like, I just am like, you kinda brought this on yourself.
Well, I think personal opinion, I think a lot of it she does to get attention. You're trying to
Yes.
get people talking about you and keep your name in the spotlight. And on one hand, I understand that, but on the other hand, there's other ways we could get people to talk about you. Be great at your craft, do new music,
Well,
put out a tour, something.
and I'm gonna bring this up in one of our other topics, but these entertainers and artists that cannot and will not rely just on their talent to keep their name out there and making money, that should tell you something, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Like, if you can't rely on that, you're not what you think you are.
Well, and if you're going to treat the people around you poorly,
Yeah,
eventually that's going to come out and eventually it's going to bite you in the butt. So why can't you just be a decent human and work at your craft?
yeah. I don't know. I mean, again, I think Lizzo's talented. I don't think I don't
I
even know that they're in top 10 right now.
interesting that when all of the lawsuits first started coming out, all of the allegations against her, which I'm pretty sure none of that's been settled or
No.
finalized, like it's still all in the process.
Yep.
When all of that came out, she moved out of the spotlight. She got quiet on social media, got quiet what she's doing. It's still in the process. And now you're coming out and I'm going to put out a video saying I quit. Well, of course, everybody's going to talk about that and say you're quitting music. Now you're going to put out a video. Well, that's not what I said. That's actually exactly what you said. So
Yeah.
you put out another thing. And now, what is it, yesterday, she puts out this like essay about feelings. My man,
Yeah.
take a nap. Like you have got, at first I thought maybe she hired like a PR firm when everything first came out, which smart move.
Yeah.
Let's kind of work on our image here. But now you're like manically posting things.
Yeah.
Take a seat. Like just let everything boil over and then come back slowly and just be Lizzo.
Yeah. And you can still wear your little bikinis. I don't care. I mean,
Go for it.
listen, if you can feel the confidence in that, as big as you are, more power to you.
Yep.
Like, whatever. I don't care. Because she does have a good voice. Yeah, I don't know.
Because here's the
Speaking
thing, if she comes out and does a show fully clothed, people are going to make a comment about that too.
Yeah.
So you just have to mentally get to the space of like, let them talk. It does not matter. But just go be you.
Yeah. So another big talent that caused some drama this week, Billie Eilish. Eilish?
Yes.
Why I said that weird. I know how to pronounce that one.
Words are hard.
To my friend that commented that she enjoys that when I try to pronounce things. There you go. So this week she puts out something about that she's annoyed and thinks it's wasteful, all these artists with their variant vinyls. Now, here, first of all, if you look at the list and the totals of variants that have come out, she is number 2. So please sit down. Thank you.
Right.
So, of course, she wants to say, well, yeah, that might be true, but I use all these recycled materials to make mine. Okay, well, first of all, I don't believe you, but okay.
Right.
And second of all, you don't know that other people didn't do that either.
Right.
So obviously, because of the time and the culture and the era that we're in, everyone took this to be a slight and a slam to Taylor.
Right.
And listen, do I find it annoying that, every week for a month she dropped a different variant and I had to pay shipping 4 different times? Yeah. Yeah. Now, you will catch that I meant that I bought all 4 vinyls,
God.
but I did have to pay 4 separate shipping charges, and it's not cheap.
That's fair.
I'm gonna buy 'em. I am not concerned with the environment. I should be. I own that, but I am not. And here's the thing, Billy, like, yeah, of all the things, I'm just like, okay. So then, of course, she clearly recognizes real quick that people are coming at her because I kind of think she was like, I got my Barbie song. I'm real popular. I won a lot
Right?
of awards. Nobody's going to come at me. No, they did. Yeah. That is not the era we're in, but Billy, let me just tell you.
Yeah.
The Swifties will come for your throat, and they did.
Because here's the thing. When you're talking about variants and you're talking about vinyls, who at the moment is a huge vinyl seller and has variants? Taylor Swift. Who
She
did
wins
you think
every
people were going to be talking about?
And I'm just like, does she not know that she did the same thing, but like 4 times the amount Taylor did?
Yeah.
And
I
Taylor
saw
put out way
on
more albums. Like, what are we
yeah,
doing, Billy?
I saw on X where people were posting pictures of like Billie on electric billboards talking
Oh,
about
yeah.
like teasing her album or something. And they're like, do you know how much electricity that is? And all of these things. And I was like, here's the thing. If you want to come out heavy hitting on being environmentally conscious and doing all of these things, that's wonderful if you're doing that. But you need to make sure you are at the top of your game with it before you come out saying anything against anybody.
Yeah. I mean, here's the thing. Was she intentionally coming for Taylor? I'm gonna go no. Um, she could have been though, but I'm gonna go no.
Intentionally a couple of people.
Yeah. So I think though, so she's come out since and like clarified that she was not talking about one specific person, but in that statement, she put the word me in all capitals with a exclamation point, which if you're familiar with Taylor's music, she has a song, me, capital exclamation. It was very clearly her saying I wasn't coming for Taylor.
Yep.
Without saying I wasn't coming for Taylor. Okay. I thought that was lame, like own it.
Yeah.
Again, I just go with like it's just like the jet tracking thing, like with, everybody busting Taylor's romp about like, oh, all the carbon whatever. And she's not even in like the top 20 guilty
Yeah.
parties of this. And she buys carbon credits and no other celebrity does that. Like, I'm just like, come on, people. Like, there will be the day when you can come for Taylor again. I mean, like the 2016 thing, I don't know that something that extreme will happen to her again, but there will be a day when you can come for her for something and it will be like, yeah, okay. This isn't it. This is not the fight. Like,
this isn't the hill we're dying on, folks.
Billy needs a little help with that. Maybe you should just stick to writing music. I don't know. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
So that happened. I'm skipping around to keep a few topics towards the end here. Speaking of coming for Taylor in 2016, would you care to tell us about our latest fiasco with one Kanye West?
Listen, Kanye West just can't keep himself out of any kind of drama, whether it's clothing choice, girlfriend, wife choice, whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
Lack thereof. So this week it came out that there was a lawsuit that was filed by Trevor Phillips, who had worked at his Kanye's school that he opened, Donda Academy.
Yep.
And basically, it's saying there was racial discrimination, harassment, whistleblower retaliation, and other crimes. The racial discrimination, he's saying that he treated the Black employees poorly. Why are you treating anybody poorly? But why were you like, that was not what I expected when I saw the racial discrimination piece.
Yeah, I was thinking the opposite.
That was interesting. So I don't know. Obviously, we've always heard that he's a little iffy with people. The whole Donda Academy thing was a little iffy.
Yeah.
But this is the first time that somebody's actually filed any kind of a lawsuit about it that I'm aware of.
Yeah.
So we will kind of see. I haven't seen, I don't know if you have, Kanye has not made any statements or anything about it that I know of. I haven't seen where he's trying to get it dismissed or anything. So we'll kind of see how this plays out. This is brand new. So we'll see.
Yeah, I haven't seen him say anything. I'm sure he'll go on some manic rant soon enough about it. But, the Donda Academy in general was kind of a fiasco from the jump because, it wasn't even accredited. And, a lot of the parents have come out and said, well, we were promised, all these things if we brought our kids there, and then none of that happened. Then it got shut down for all his anti-Semitic stuff. And then
I just think if I'm looking at a school for my kids, first off, if you're telling me it's not accredited, I'm going to have a lot of questions.
Yeah.
Second off, if you're telling me I have to sign an NDA for my child's school, I'm probably going to be like, thank you, but no thank you. There's so many red flags popped up. And then a month into it, you've already shut the school down. And then a couple of hours later, you reopen it. Now it is shut down. It's just, that's too chaotic for school.
Yeah. Oh, stick with what you're good at again. I just don't understand. So that's our Kanye drama for today. So far today, Lord only knows. Still early.
Still a lot of years left.
We had the iHeart Music Awards on Monday. We did not really talk much about leading into them because we didn't really know what was going to happen. Neither one of us are super familiar with that show in general. We honestly thought it was a concert. So there's that. We did catch a bit of the red carpet or yellow carpet, as it might be in this circumstance, which is just weird. Any thoughts you'd like to kick off with?
Listen, first off, once I started seeing the red carpet and I realized I don't know any of these folks.
Yeah.
I was like, this isn't for me. Then starting to see the outfits, because obviously I like to look at the fashion when you're wearing. I quickly realized this is kind of like the MTV Awards where it's be wild, be crazy, and it's not dress ball gown type.
Yeah, it's in the Grammys. Yeah.
So, which I didn't expect big fancy dresses, but I expected nice, I guess. So I didn't see anything I loved. Probably everyone would be listed on the do not wear list. But we did have one individual that stole the spotlight, and she's definitely getting herself talked about, and that is one Miss JoJo Siwa.
Listen,
she has revamped her style and sound and life. So
she, if you haven't seen the pictures, I mean, you can go look if you want to, but I wouldn't even waste my time. Basically, she was recreating the Kiss look.
Here's what it is. If you know JoJo Siwa from being a kid dancer, she always wore rainbow, sparkly everything. She always had her hair up, kind of funky, glitter, paint all over her face. If you know that image, just switch the colors to black and white, and that's all it is. Now it's black sequins and glitter, and it's black paint on her face instead of colorful. That's literally all she changed. So the emo version.
Yeah. Other big highlights from the show. I did watch kind of off and on. I was switching to the basketball games a lot that night. But Beyonce was awarded the Innovator Award, which is something Taylor won last year. Here's the thing. I don't know this to be true. So this is speculative, which I know we try to steer clear from, but this is not about someone's personal life per se. I'm going to go ahead and say that I think that PR teams pay for that award.
100%.
And I'm saying that owning the fact that I think Taylor's team did that last year. She was kicking off the Eras tour. They knew they had a couple albums coming out. I think they pay for it. I think that's totally what Beyonce did. Not that they're both not great innovators. I just think that's very strategically placed. So that happened. She showed up in her cowboy regalia. Cher won the Icon Award. I mean, I guess she's an icon. I mean, sure. I would have thought she won that probably 40 years ago, but okay. That happened. Taylor won a lot of awards. She was nominated for 9. She's the most decorated at the iHeart Music Awards, which I don't know is saying a whole lot, but she did win Artist of the Year, Pop Artist, TikTok Bop of the Year with Cruel Summer, which is funny since that's like 5 years old.
Yeah.
Um, Best Tour Style, but I was most excited that she won Best Lyrics. The fact that, and we're gonna get into this when we talk about Beyonce, because of course we're gonna talk about her. I've always thought it's like a tragic thing that she's never won Best Song at the Grammys because that is about songwriting, and I think she is the best songwriter of this generation. So I was glad to see that she won that for Is It Over Now off of 1989, Taylor's version. Other than that, she was not there. There was a lot of speculation. Yes, we were waiting to see. We were amongst the people. She didn't show up. So that was kind of really it. It was
Yeah. It's kind of one of those award shows, like there can be some fun moments, but there's really not going to be a lot that comes from it.
Yeah.
So I think it's more for those up and coming artists, the newer ones, to kind of start dabbling in the award shows and get your name out without being at the Grammys where there's other names that are going to be clearly taking up the space.
Well, I think like the technical name of it is like the iHeart Music, or like it has the word radio in it somewhere, right?
Yeah.
And I think that that's just kind of part of it too. The world has shifted so much from the radio, like nobody listens to the radio per se anymore.
Yeah.
We're on streaming systems, and even if you have iHeartRadio, you have to have like XM radio. Like you're not listening to like I turned the dial on my tuner here in the car. So I think that plays into it too. But it very clearly, I think with JoJo's Get Up, seeing people like Tori Spelling there, more podcasters and influencers, it was just kind of that vibe. So
Yeah.
I mean, Beyonce didn't even come except for her award. Like she literally strolls in mid-show when her award's coming up and then leaves. So
Yeah.
there you have it. Well, we've talked about everything other than the last 2 topics before we get to our special segment. But let's talk about Beyonce. I had several people ask if we were going to talk about Cowboy Carter now that it's out. Of course we are. Here's the thing. We're going to put out a little disclaimer here. We are not members of the Beehive.
No.
We're just not. I think Beyonce is incredibly talented. I think she is drop dead gorgeous. I think business sense, she's pretty dang smart.
Yep.
Again, I think she's very, very talented. Cowboy Carter, her new country album came out. It's good. I mean, here's where I want to start with this. I was in my business coaching yesterday with Retha, and we talked a little bit about this album because I wanted her opinion. And I did put a poll or a story thing like, hey, message me if you're a Beyonce fan and you have thoughts on Cowboy Carter. And I got a bunch of messages. I will say, here's the funny thing. The most leading comment I got began with, I don't know that I'm really a Beyonce fan, but I have opinions. Okay. You're our people.
America.
Yeah. I only had, so I got, at my last count, I got 26 messages.
Okay.
Of those, I only had 3 people say, like, I'm a Beyonce stan. Like, I only had 3.
Okay.
I will say from like my sampling here, a very diverse of the 26, very diverse landscape. I'll just put it that way. So kind of all over the board, females and males, all kinds of sexual orientations, all different colors. So this is not one way or the other. Of the 26, let me check my notes. I want to be accurate. Of the 26, 19 were big fans, like what I would categorize big fans. 19, I would say, do believe, because what I did was I put out there like, hey, shoot me a message so I can ask you some questions. So they would give me feedback. And so the number one question I asked everyone, unless they said something like to lead me into something else, was, do you think this is album of the year material for the Grammys? Of the 19 who said they were big fans, only 10 said yes.
Okay.
So 10 out of 26 said it was album of the year. So yesterday when I was meeting with Retha, we were kind of talking about this. And I told Retha, I feel like life has become only the extremes. And I feel like this has got to be frustrating for artists because you're either album of the year worthy or trash. Like
Yeah.
the idea that I would say to someone, hey, that new Beyonce album is good.
Yeah.
That instantly to them means that I hate it. It's terrible. I don't like Beyonce. It doesn't mean any of those things. It
Right.
literally means it's good.
Yeah.
I personally think it's album of the year worthy. No, I
Right.
do not. Do I think it's trash? No, I don't at all. Do I think it's her greatest work? Which one comment we got was that it is. Actually, I got 2 comments that said that was her greatest work. I don't agree with that at all. And here's why. It's kind of what we were saying with Lizzo and Billie and even Kanye. Do what you're good at.
Mm-hmm.
And this is not what Beyonce is good at.
Yeah.
And I get, so there's so much that goes into this package of this Cowboy Carter. And there are things that we as white women are not qualified to speak on.
Right.
But one of the things I will bring up in that vein is that I totally get the wrong that exists in the Grammy system that only 3 Black women have ever won Album of the Year: Lauryn Hill, Whitney Houston, and Natalie Cole.
Yeah.
The fact that I only said those 3 names, I didn't say Janet Jackson. Like, I mean, there are some big names that I did not say. I do not disagree at all that there is something wrong with that system.
100%.
But here's what I'm going to say. If Beyonce did not win Album of the Year with Renaissance and lost to Harry's House, to Harry Styles, that only had a Metacritic average of 85, this is not it.
Yeah.
And if it is, here's what I'm going to say. I'm going to go on the record of saying this, and we can come back in a year and look at this. If she wins Album of the Year, it is not because this album was worth it. And that to me is what I have a problem with.
Yeah.
Is this album good? Yes. Is it my favorite? No. Here's the reason I don't like it. I think so everyone's like, oh, it's so original for her because this is so not what she does. No. This entire album to me was a copycat.
Yes.
Like here I go trying to say this word again. Interpolates.
Look at you.
Oh, I think it's interpolates. Dang it, I don't know. I don't know.
Interpolates is what you said last time, so we'll stick with that.
Interpolates. I can't even do it the same way twice. She does that incessantly on this album. She is known to do that, but this time it was very much like, this is not my lane, and so I'm going to try to get credit for what I'm doing, playing off of other people, and I don't like that. No. And it's not just the fact that she redid Jolene with Dolly Parton's song. It's not even that. Like Blackbird, that is not an original song. And there are several people that messaged me. And if you're listening to this, I'm calling you out, not by name. But you said in these messages to me, 2 people, how much you love the song that she wrote called Blackbird. People, that is not a song that she wrote. Like, that is a Beatles song. Like, what is wrong with you?
Oh,
no. So that
well, and I don't even think the issue is that she was crossing genres and doing a country album, because listen, right now, how music is, the genres are already crossing. If you want to come do a country album, by all means, go for it. And it's the same issue I have when I tell people that I live in Texas. We are not riding horses to go to the grocery store. Yeah. Okay. We're still in the city. It is still the suburbs out here. Yeah. So it just felt like you were pushing so much. Let me wear my denim and let me put my cowboy hat on and have pictures with the horse. Like, you don't have to do all of that get up to have a country album. So to me, a lot of that just felt forced. I think I don't like the song Jolene anyway. It's a little too country bumpkin for me.
I I'm gonna
But
get
to
spicy
try and
here.
redo
I don't like
it,
Dolly Parton's voice, so I'm just like, eh.
no. But it just felt like, well, I'm going to do a country album, so I guess I better do Jolene because that's like the country song, which that song didn't even originate as a country song. It was Nancy Sinatra's song. So, like, it's just
I love it
wild.
that people don't know these things and they just speak things like it's just reality.
Yeah.
There was that, the Willie Nelson parts when he kind of did like the radio intros. I thought
Yeah.
that was really hokey. Um, I was kind of like, again, this is so. Lily Allen, the actress, this week came out criticizing Beyonce, and of course, she's been lambasted. Here's the thing: as white women, we should know better.
Yeah.
We do not have a right.
No.
We should not. I mean, it's just a
No.
lane you don't go into, and these people just don't have any common sense. So I'm not even going to talk about all the hearsay that's on the internet about like the fact that she's a black woman with country music. I mean, we all know that there are not famous black women in country music.
Right.
The only one I can think of is Mickey Guyton.
I was going
And
to say Mickey Guyton is the only name that's coming to mind right now.
but to me, this was also not a country album. Everyone's like, oh, she embraced country. No, she didn't.
No.
Like when she did Jolene, okay, I could see. But here's the thing. Here's what I would bet you. If you had never heard Dolly Parton's Jolene and then you heard Beyonce's, I bet you money you would not have categorized it as country. I
Yeah.
think you're in your head doing that because Dolly is country. If
Yeah.
Willie Nelson's voice wasn't on there, you would not associate country.
Yeah.
I just don't believe that. It was good. Now, let's talk a little bit about the collaborations. I said this to you this week. Whoever is Post Malone's agent, you, my friend, deserve the world. You had him
Yes.
at the Super Bowl.
Yep.
You had him on Beyonce's album, and then a month later, you have him on Taylor's album. Like, you have killed it. Whoever you are,
Yeah.
well done, my good and faithful servant.
And I'm
Like,
pretty sure he's got a song coming out pretty soon with Morgan Wallen. So
when the rumors are now, yes, I've seen that too. Rumors are now that he's making something with Miley. I don't know if it's true, but I could see that. And here's my spicy take on the collaborations. I thought the song with Miley was fine. I'm not a fan of Miley's voice. We've talked about that. I actually thought that the song with Post was better. Maybe because I like him more. I don't know, but I just thought it was catchy, like the Levi's hug bump. I just,
yeah.
I just liked it better. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, if I had to give it a score of like 1 to 10, and I did ask, so of my 26 people, well, one person I was texting with, and I did not ask her score, but she thought it was the greatest work she'd ever done. So I'm assuming she would say a 10. The average score that I got was a 6.5 of the 26
Okay.
people. And that's still pretty low for that many people saying they thought it was album of the year worthy.
Yeah.
Just saying.
I'd
I'd probably give it a 6.
Yeah.
Now here's the thing.
What you said, it's an album doesn't have to either be album of the year or trash.
Yeah.
And I do think that there was so much hype around this album that people were either going to love it or hate it. It's one of those things that if the song comes on the radio, I'll listen to it. Some of them have catchy beats. Texas Hold'em, that's got a catchy beat. That's all over TikTok.
Yeah.
But it's not one that I would be like, oh my gosh, let me get the album and sit here and listen to it on repeat. I feel like Renaissance was much better than this one.
Same. That's the thing. I may not be a member of the Beehive, but I've liked Beyonce albums before a lot. Yeah. I would have given Renaissance, a solid 8.
Easily.
So here's what I'm telling you. This is not because I'm a Taylor fan.
Yeah.
Because all of these people that want to pit Swifties against Beehive people, you're not right. Like, sure, there's an outlier to everything.
Yeah.
I would say most often Swifties want to be fans of Beyonce because of the friendship that they have formed.
Yes.
Even if we don't like Beyonce, I think we've tried to like her more because she has been good to Taylor.
Yeah.
And I think vice versa is true. That girl that we both love on TikTok, I can't
Uh-huh.
think of her name. I can't think of her name, but she's fantastic that does the, like, deep dives
Yes.
on Taylor songs and Beyonce songs. She was a Beyonce fan from the original, and now she's, like, turned into a Swiftie too. I
Yeah.
mean, she like, you can be both. It's
Yeah.
just not that good of an album to me. Am I a music connoisseur savant?
Right.
No, but I can tell you what I like and what I don't like.
Right. Take what we say with a pinch of
But
salt. Like,
there's things about it that I don't like because it's gimmicky, and I think that that's where I'm at, is that I just don't like gimmicks, and I told my friend Stephanie when we were texting, well, we're gonna have to hold on because my Twitter just went off, and it's from Taylor Nation, and it says,
oh, yes.
"Oh, hold on, hold on."
Is it breaking
Oh,
news?
they've made playlist, Apple Music. Okay, so it says, "We have exactly a fortnight to go through the 5 stages of heartbreak before TSTTPD." Dear God, we've added initials to it.
Too many.
Thankfully, Taylor and Apple Music made these playlists to prepare us. Press play and let us know what stage you're in. Are we gonna be able to hear something? I'll hit play.
Is it
Okay.
like songs from her other albums?
There's no sound to it. Like, you hit play because it's like a
Oh, gotcha.
that was cruel. Um, we'll go check those out later and report back. But, where the heck was I
You
going?
were talking
Oh,
about
Jay-Z, gimmicky. So, at the Grammys, Jay-Z was honored, and he went off on a tangent, a very Kanye-like tangent that we talked about
yes.
on here, and in there, he talked about how Beyonce had never won Album of the Year.
Yeah.
We should have known then what was coming, but I honestly didn't think she would stoop to this, but one of the lyrics on the album is talks about how she has been nominated, I think it's 4 times maybe, and she's never won Album of the Year. She calls it AOTY. Um, like, you don't have to be desperate. You're Beyonce. Like,
Yes.
other than Taylor, there's no one bigger in the world.
Right.
And I would say you're probably both equally big. It's just different people. Like,
Yep.
you don't have to do this.
No.
You don't see Taylor doing this about never having won the Song of the Year, and candidly, she is a phenomenal songwriter. You're a decent musician. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
just I don't like that. Like, let's not be desperate when you're freaking Beyonce. You don't have to be. And then the gimmicky, like, yes, Taylor changes her color palette, what she's wearing and her friends wear when they go out to match whatever's
Yeah.
coming out with her album. It's just a fun thing she does. Is that annoying to some people? Probably. But here's the thing, 9
That's
times out of
actually
10, 9 times out of 10, you don't know what's even happening. Like,
right. You think she's normally dressed for the day.
or you've got it totally wrong. Like, we all thought she was dressing like Rep. No, this is
Yeah.
PSTTBD now. She's gonna give somebody a seizure saying all that. But um, it's not like you're in this full cowboy attire that, like, you wouldn't even wear to a rodeo.
Yeah.
Like, it's just too over the top for me. You are like one of the, in my opinion, she is one of the most gorgeous women in the world. Like,
Yes.
you what are you doing? Like, I
Yeah.
just don't get it. I just
Gorgeous and just so talented that it just makes you, like you were saying, you don't have to do this. You don't have to do the gimmicky things. Like, people are already going to buy your album.
yep.
People are going to like your album. People are going to vote for you at award shows. People are going to want to see you win awards. You
Yeah.
don't have to stoop to the level of, woe is me, I didn't get this one award. I mean, think of actors and actresses that have been in phenomenal movies that sometimes or have never won awards for it. It doesn't take away from how good they are at their craft.
Yep.
But when you start doing the woe is me thing, that's where you lose me. Because I'm like, come on, be
Well,
better.
that's why I say, now here's the thing. We have not heard Tortured Poets Department yet.
Right.
We have not been invited to a secret listening session. And God love you people on Twitter that are convinced they're happening right now. They're not.
You're not.
They have not done that for 2 albums now. And listen, all you crazy people scared Taylor and her people, and now she can't do those. So quit. We haven't heard it. I don't know.
Yeah.
It may not be our favorite album. There's a lot of music coming out this year. I feel like everybody and their mother is putting something out. We have no idea what will be nominated next year for the Grammy. But here's what I'm going to say. If she wins, it is not because of the credibility of that album. And to me, that ruins it. And it ruins the fact that this is a good album. Just let it be good. Don't do this.
Yep, I agree.
That's my soapbox. I am holding a lot in. So if you ever really want to know my opinions about this, message me. I'm happy to tell you offline. I'm not putting it on camera. I have a lot of thoughts and opinions. Jay-Z, my friend.
Whew.
I've had more arguments with my husband about the fact that I, until recently, have always claimed that I believe Jay-Z was the greatest rapper. He's ruined himself to me. So I can go off on that tangent too if you want. Okay, so one thing that I snuck into our notes, but I don't even know if you saw that I did put a little bullet point for TTPD thoughts.
I did, because I added it into my notes when I saw it.
Good, because so you may be more prepared than I thought you would be. So I had a couple people this week ask me if we were going to talk about Tortured Poets Department before it comes out. So a couple of things with that. We try really hard not to be speculative on here, and I don't think you can talk about this album before it comes out without being incredibly speculative.
Yeah.
So we might dip our toe a smidge into it right now, but we are for sure, we have many more thoughts than we're going to say here because it's just not right to do that yet. But after it comes out, yes, we will do a complete episode breaking it down. There's so many songs. There may have to be 2 episodes. Lori, you'll just have to skip both of them. It's fine. Or maybe you'll get some taste. We don't know. So one thing I want to say, if you are a Taylor fan or if you're mildly curious about this album coming out or you're dipping your toe into the Swiftie world, there is an account on Instagram. I'm looking it up right now, so don't mess this up too. We don't know this person. Could be a complete wackadoodle. And I will say that I do not approve of a lot of stuff this person posts because she does repost a lot of TMZ stuff, and I'm not cool with that. But it's at must like me for the number me. She has done a speculative, I'll say, breakdown of a bunch of the songs. I think she's going through all of them and maybe she's just not done yet. What I will say that I like about this and the reason I'm bringing this up is she has a highlight on her Instagram called TTPD, and you can go find these where she's done like a document on quite a few of the songs, a lot of the ones that people are really wondering about. What I do like about these documents that she's made is she brings in a lot of like the historical context of like what was happening when this was allegedly written. And yes, there are some speculative notes to it, but some of it is stuff we know for sure. Some of it is stuff Taylor has said. Some of it's stuff that like just visibly happened on stage, you know, things like that.
Yeah.
I'm always kind of weirded out by people like this because I'm like, did you do a deep dive to make this document or were you psychotic enough to know this already? That frightens me. And with this girl, I don't know which way she goes. So I will just say that.
Tread lightly.
So I think as far as we want to dip our toe into being speculative about this album, I'll ask you some questions to kick us off.
Okay.
Is there a song just based on the track list and or collaborations or just whatever that you're like, this is the song I can't wait to hear?
I am excited to hear the song that she does with Post Malone, which I think is the Fortnite one.
Yeah.
Just because I am so interested to see how their two voices sound together on a song. I think that's the one that I'm looking the most forward to.
Well, I'm glad you started with that one. So on the Must Like Me for Me page, Fortnite was one of the first ones she did. So a couple of little nuggets that I did not know. I had clearly not missed the memo that Fortnite means 2 weeks because no one in Swiftie world would let you forget that.
We have boys, so that's not what we think first.
Oh, I literally was like, we wrote a song about the video game?
Like, right? I was like, that's not going to be good.
Yeah, so I was worried. But apparently, I did not know that is actually British slang.
Okay.
So
I mean, it makes sense, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, okay, let's face it. And this is not even speculative, really. we know that this album is very much about, or there's going to be parts of this album that are very much about her relationship with Joe Alwyn, who's
Right.
British. She clearly went to
Because
the
of the
UK.
timeline of when
Yeah,
she wrote it.
we know that she moved to the UK when the 2016 thing happened and she kind of went off the radar. So we know that the UK is a big part of
Right.
this era for her.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's a British slang or word used to denote a period of 2 weeks. So I knew the 2 week part because everyone was like, if you were up last night at 12 a.m. to see if she released Fortnite, she did not. Y'all need to quit. She's not gonna do any of that. So I did think one of these things was interesting. You know that I love the two songs with Bon Iver.
Yes.
And this was interesting. She said this is a collaboration with Post Malone. Maybe she needed a male voice, perhaps answering her in a call and response, which would be very similar to the Exile song, which I love.
Yep.
So that's an interesting take. Let me scroll really fast.
There's a lot of songs that are going to be on this album.
Yeah. So those were just kind of, I will say pretty much the rest of this is very speculative and probably some stuff I don't want to venture into, but I'm very excited for Fortnite as well. Are there any other ones that you were going to say?
The other one that I was excited about is the So Long London, and
Yes, yes.
I think it's called I Can Do It With a Broken Heart,
Mhm.
something like that. Those two, I would be the So Long London. I just want to, because if you're going to be speculative about the title, is it so long to that relationship or so long to a town that she grew to love? Because she
Mhm.
did live there for so long. So I think that that potentially could be a love song almost to the things that you were thankful for there. So I'm interested to see what she does with it and what lyrics she adds to that one.
Yeah, I would say So Long London is my number one that I can't wait to hear. There's a couple of notes to point out. If you're not familiar with Taylor's music, track fives are always like a big deal for her. She's very meticulous about what number track something is. You can always rest assured that nothing happens on her album that she is not being incredibly intentional about. So her
Yeah.
track fives are always her what is known as like her most vulnerable tracks. I will also say I cannot remember the exact seconds, but this song is over 9 minutes, which harkens a lot to the 10-minute version of All Too Well, which is probably one of her most vulnerable tracks. Also track 5. So I think this is gonna be a doozy.
Yeah.
Um, I will say that I will kind of speculate a little here. I think this song I think if you approach this whole album as like, "Oh, this is just a breakup album," you're not doing it justice, and you're also, like, kinda discrediting her. But here's what I think. I think that there was this whole idea of what London was gonna be, right? I
Mhm.
think she left the US when everything happened with Kanye and Kim, and she needed to get away.
Yeah.
Her fame had gotten to, at that point, a fever pitch. Now it's, like, quadruple that, so I don't even know
Right.
how she's existing. So if she disappears to Bora Bora, we'll know what happened.
Yeah.
Um, but I think that it became like this it's kinda like if you don't love being in crowds and then you don't have to be for a long time and then you suddenly have to again. It's like a
Yeah.
culture shock. It's kinda like what we all went through after the pandemic, like, "Oh, I have to put on real clothes again,"
Right.
and so I think that, like, it was this, like, safe haven for her for a while. I mean,
Yeah.
obviously, based on the stuff we've heard, there was ups and downs with this relationship, whatever. Um to me, I'm gonna speculate that I think this song is about, like, having to walk away either because you wanted to or because you felt like you had to from a life and, like, this idea you had built up. Whether that was Joe, the relationship, were they gonna get married, were they gonna have kids, was it living in London full time, was it
Yeah.
taking a step away from her fame and her career? I don't know, but I do think that it's probably about that. Will it probably go through, like, all of those storylines, kinda like All Too Well does? That thing is super long because there are so many tangents she goes down. I think the same thing's gonna happen in this.
Yeah.
So I'm excited about that one. I love Florence and the Machine. Um,
Mhm.
so I'm super excited to hear this. I'm super interested to hear the blend of Florence's voice with Taylor's because I can't picture it. I can see
Yes.
the ghost thing, especially after now hearing him with Beyonce. I can just kind of see it now. I cannot see this Florence and the Machine thing. So she wrote the song Florida with 3 exclamation marks, and it's all capped. There's a lot that goes into the speculation behind that song. I mean, what we do know is that the Tampa shows on the Eras Tour were her first shows, after the announcement of their breakup last year, which was a year ago exactly when you listen to this.
Yeah.
So it could be about that, could be about kind of like how being back in the world is a thing. I don't know what it's about, but I'm excited just because I love Florence and the Machine. So I think that a lot of the song titles make me very curious.
Mhm.
I've read all of the speculation everywhere on the internet about what they're all about. I don't think we even know, and probably even after we hear it, everyone's going to have a different opinion.
Right.
But I'm excited. And we're like a fortnight away from
Not too far.
being able to do a whole deep dive on this album. So I think that that will be exciting, but I do think that everyone is so obsessed with, we've talked about this so much on here. People are so obsessed with celebrities and their lives and their relationships and their friendships and all of that. I wish that people would listen to this album not completely convinced that the entire thing is about Joe Alwyn. Because
Yes.
is he a theme in this album? I'm sure.
Sure.
But like, don't reduce it to that's all this album is about, because then I think you're gonna miss like some big parts. And I think that's the thing about Taylor's music. Like, we've talked about it before that like we're not going through some horrific breakup, and it's been a long time since we have, but yet some of those breakup songs are our favorites.
Mhm.
And I think it's because like that's the best part about her music, and that she doesn't confirm what things are about, because then you can make it about whatever it means to you. So
Yeah, and I just think she's writing about life experiences. So to reduce it to her only life experiences to date people and break up with them,
yeah,
like that's come on.
yeah,
But I mean, there's so many other things that she has going on in her life, family, friendships, all of those things that she can write about. And sometimes she just makes characters up and writes stories about them and songs about them. So it'll be interesting to see, like you said, everybody's going to have a different opinion on what they think a song means. But I'm excited to
yeah.
sit and listen to her album.
And just to confirm, I am not saying that because I do not believe Beyonce's album is album of the year that Taylor's is. I haven't heard it. Come back soon and I'll let you know if I think it is. So,
And listen, we'll be the first ones to say, not this.
I mean,
Yeah,
there are songs that you don't like of hers,
we'll
and
be
I'll let you know
honest.
if they're on this album. Yeah. All right, so we'll go to our last segment, our new segment that we still have not officially named.
Yes.
Um, do you have a name that's sticking out to you?
I always call it the wise have it, but I don't think I love that. That's just what I call it.
I don't even think I've heard you say that one. I thought you were gonna say the Y factor.
I like that one. I
Yeah,
don't
we
know
may
why.
stick with that. I don't know about the wise have it. That I mean,
I don't know why. But in my head, every time I'm thinking of my why and why not, that's what I always say. I don't know.
I will say this week I definitely had a really hard time narrowing down my thing that I don't like, because there's a lot of things right now. So
Fair.
let's start with the thing you didn't like this week.
So my thing that I don't like this week has nothing to do with pop culture. It is theme weeks at schools for
Oh,
elementary students.
yeah. Yeah.
When
Okay.
we were in school, maybe your school was different. We only had theme week like homecoming week.
Oh,
That was
yeah.
the only
Yeah.
theme week. And so then it was exciting. Everybody participates because it's something different you get to do. In elementary school, there might be 2 or 3 weeks out of the school year. And I'm not even exaggerating. That's not a theme week. Every week in the newsletter, we're getting on Monday, it's Space Day, dress up like an astronaut. What? How am I
Yeah.
dressing up like it? Like it's just, it's too much. It's not special. It's too stressful on parents.
Yeah.
Thank God I have boys that really do not care.
Yeah.
Because if I had a little girl that wanted to do every little thing, I would be a disappointing parent.
Yeah. Are y'all dressing up for the eclipse?
I think neon colors. We are bright for the eclipse, even though the eclipse is making everything dark. So you missed that one.
Yeah. Okay, I could see that one.
It's
Um,
listen, in the mornings when they're getting up for school, I'm lucky if I grab a pair of shorts and a t-shirt that matched and sent them out the door. Like
uh,
I can't also think of a theme.
yeah, it's a lot. Yeah, I will say our school does a good job of being like we have them, but I have noticed we do not have them near as much as other schools do,
Yeah.
at least in the elementary. So I do appreciate that. I feel like they're very heavy in the fall. I don't know why, but I feel like they're like back to back. It's like wear your crazy socks, wear this, wear that, 100 days of this. And I'm like, dear Lord.
I know
Uh,
the last 3 weeks we've had something.
wow. We haven't had
It's
one in
just
a while, unless I've missed it. Like that could have happened too.
yeah. So
Um,
what's your thing you're not loving this week that you narrowed down to?
So we've already kind of briefly hit on it, but it's actually another part of this topic. So our dear
Okay.
friend JoJo, Siwa, I don't like her attire and her new gimmicky look, but
No.
her new song came out last night. And I was already anticipating not liking it because it was called Karma. And I was like, it's a little too on the nose since somebody
Yeah.
else has a song called Karma out there. Um, and then I listened to it.
No.
Listen, it is a train wreck. And I did see somebody on Twitter said there's a music video too, which is equally as wreckish. I
Maybe
did
worse.
see somebody on Twitter was saying that her record label said we are not giving you any money to make a music video because even they have sense. So
I
she paid out of
know.
pocket to make this, and it is it's awful.
Yeah, it's not
The
good.
song is terrible. The lyrics are terrible. She's not great. The aesthetic is awful. Like I'm just not a fan at all.
That's
So
a good one to not
hop
like
right
this.
out and take a listen because you're just gonna hate it.
It's good. Listen, when you put in the word effed in a song and you literally say effed and not
Mhm.
even the actual F word,
Yeah, come
come
on.
on.
What are we doing? Yeah. Yeah, it's bad, real bad. So yeah. All right, what's the thing that you're liking this week?
So the thing I'm liking, which again, it's a TV show. So surprise, surprise
My
for
gosh,
everyone.
I don't know how you have time with The Masked Singer and Grey's Anatomy.
I know this is my third. I usually keep 5 shows running. This is one of them.
Okay.
Is It Cake on Netflix? Have you guys watched it?
No, I've never even heard of it.
Okay, it's on season 3, released
Oh,
this last weekend, I think.
okay.
But it's a competition show. They've always got like guests that come on and judge it. It's been like SNL people, like big names come on and do some of the judging. But it's these bakers that make realistic cakes. And so then you get a prompt, you get some kind of a challenge, and you have to make a cake. And then it gets put on the pedestals. And so let's say somebody made a skateboard in the first episode, or skates, roller skates. So you make a roller skate cake, you put it on a pedestal, and then there's 2 real roller skates. And then people have to figure out which one is cake and which one's not. And I'm going to tell you, it is so much harder to figure out than you think. It
Hmm.
is so good. These people are so talented.
Huh.
There's not a lot of shows that like the boys and I watch together because
Yeah.
they like all weird stuff that I just would rather not. But this is one that when it comes out, like we will sit and binge a couple of
Mhm.
episodes on the weekend and watch. It's so good. So
Huh.
that's 411 this week.
That's a good one. I love a good cooking show. I'm
Yes.
not like a big chef kind of person and I cannot bake at all. But I love those shows. Like
Yeah.
I can get super addicted.
Yes.
So I'll
I
have
think you would like that one. Judd would probably like it too. It's good.
um so my thing that I like this week is so random. And such a callback to like gosh, early 2000s.
Okay.
Judd has somehow gotten obsessed with Fallout Boy. So, me too, but I totally forgot that I did. Um, so we're in the car the other day and he's like, "Hey, mommy, can you play this song called Centuries?"
Yeah.
And I was like, "Who's it by?" And he was like, "Fallout, this group called Fallout Boy." And I was like, "Oh." Yeah. So put it on real quick and we listened to it probably 4 times in a row.
Yeah,
And I was like, "Oh, Judd, if you love this,"
that's
because Judd is a
awesome.
big Taylor fan.
Yeah.
I think that she is quite possibly the love of his life. So I played the video from, yeah, I don't 2013, um,
Probably.
where she appeared in the Victoria's Secret show with Fall Out Boy and did the My Songs Know What You Did,
Yep.
and it is freaking incredible, even though I didn't her voice wasn't even that amazing back then. It
Yeah.
is such a good one, and he loves that video now. And
See,
yes, I let my child watch something that has the Victoria's Secret models. It's just like a swimming suit, so y'all get over yourself.
right? That's what I
Uh,
always say. It looks like a swimsuit that they'd see at the pool.
bikini. So I am loving Fall Out Boy again, and it has sent me down the rabbit hole. I listened to Creed yesterday in the car. Like, I am
Okay.
way back in the box now.
Now, listen, if I'm in the car with the kids, if it's not Taylor Swift playing, it
Mhm.
is Fall Out Boy and Panic at the Disco mixed.
Ooh, I need to play Panic at the Disco for him. I haven't
Yes.
done that one yet. Yeah, so Judd is a musical savant. He loves Harry Styles. He loves Taylor. He likes Eminem, the clean version.
He loves
But
it in
he is real upset with the Lose Yourself song. Obsessed. Like, is has to hear it before every game he plays in.
Oh, I love it.
And even though it's edited, like, I almost feel like honestly listening to the real song would be less abrasive than the edited because it's so just like,
Yeah.
like it's
Yeah.
very awkward. But yeah, Fall Out Boy, I am loving it again.
I
So
love that. Okay, those were good.
yeah. Okay, I think we covered everything. Anything we missed?
Not today. We
Well, it's
covered it
early.
all.
It's
Covered
only
the game.
one, so we'll see.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks for listening. And we'll be back next week.
Bye, guys.